What's up, guys? It's D-Lo from the Stuff of Legend. I've got another video for you guys. We are going to talk about a number of topics today that I'm very excited about, and we are going to read them off right now. Let me go ahead and show you guys what we're talking about. We're talking about the Birds of Prey movie. For the record, we will talk about it, but I have not seen it. You don't have to worry about spoilers because I know nothing. We're going to talk about the box office. Now, there's a lot of disappointment right now, but there is, I think, maybe more positivity about it, but there is also concern. I want to address that with you guys. And if you guys have seen the movie, just don't put any spoilers, but feel free to put your thoughts, your feelings about the movie if you've seen it, not specific details, just to be courteous to those who haven't seen it yet, including myself. But we will talk about it. Other things we're going to talk about, Doctor Strange gets a new director. Very, very exciting stuff there involving the MCU, possibly the Sonyverse as well. Aquaman animated is a thing. I'm going to show you guys that right now. That's confirmed, as well as the Obiwan project on hold and New Mutants. News about that. It is actually rumored, and I'll get into this. This is not confirmed, but a rumor that it might possibly have been shoved into the MCU, and we'll discuss that, and we'll talk about why you should definitely have more than one. It's not confirmed. I'll tell you that out the gate. But let's go ahead, switch my screen over so that we can have a conversation. I'm looking a little bit orangey right now. Not sure why that is the case. I wonder if it's my lighting. I don't know. Could be the lighting, but that's all right. Let's go ahead and jump right into the first main topic. Thank you guys. If you guys have any questions, please leave them over on the side in the comments. Just put them in the chat, live chat, all that good stuff, so that I can respond to you guys during and after this video segment is over. I'll try to take it piece by piece, so as we go topic for topic, I'll answer your questions, and comments and that kind of stuff can be read aloud. You can be part of the Stuff of Legend videos that way. So go ahead and leave those for me as we go. Let's cut over to the first main topic. So let's go here. First main topic. Let's see if it'll switch over. My button is not moving. Let me see if I can just go to this one here. This ought to do. All right, so let's cut over to here. Sorry about the coloring right now. It's kind of odd. I had it set up in a way that it looked good at first. Let me see if this will. Oh, that should do. Okay, let me see if that'll work. Yeah, that's much better. Okay, I don't know why it was all blasting orange. That was weird. Okay, so it should be pretty good right now. So we have first, Sam Raimi is in talks to direct Doctor Strange 2. Now, if you guys remember the original Spider-Man movies, not the one way back like before the 2000s, but 2001, 2002 with Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi did Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2. Two of the greatest comic book movies of all time. Even for their day and age, they're fantastic, and people generally love those films. And they're big fan favorites for Marvel fans specifically because they were so great. Now, obviously, Spider-Man 3 was not terrific, but there was a lot more heavy involvement in that one. Avi Arad pushed for Venom in that film. There was a lot of expectation. People wanted Venom in that film. And Sam Raimi came out and said, you know, hey, I was never really a big fan of Venom. I don't like the character Venom. And but they forced him to put him in there anyway. And that kind of showed that he didn't like the character. He didn't really care for the character. Didn't know the character very well. And so that showed when he made the film that way. So that's what happens when you force a director to make something he doesn't want to make. But in this case, he's in talks right now to direct Doctor Strange 2 and the Multiverse of Madness, which is really, really exciting as a speculation piece for people like ourselves who love to theorize about what could possibly be happening in the future with the MCU, but also with the Spider-Verse, which Sam Raimi helped create in the first place, which Kevin Feige had, I believe, consultation on as well while he was working on the X-Men films at the same time. So, Sam Raimi, let's read this really quick, and then I'll move to the next one. I want you guys to have a second so you can leave comments and tell me what you think. But it says here, Sam Raimi, who helped launch the modern superhero movie... I'm sorry, let me read that again. Sam Raimi, who helped launch the modern superhero movie with 2002's Spider-Man, is in talks to direct Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness for Marvel Studios. Variety has learned. Raimi replaces the original director Scott Derrickson, who Variety reported on January 9th had officially departed the project due to creative differences. Derrickson will remain as an executive producer. Raimi, meanwhile, will need to get up to speed before the film's scheduled production start date in May. Marvel had no comment. And the rest of this is just speaking of some of the other projects he's worked on. Quickly mentioning Spider-Man 3 as well, being a notable disappointment, but still a financial juggernaut. So it still made a crudload of money. I think every single Spider-Man film in history, other than the animated film Into the Spider-Verse, has made, I believe it was over it was either $600,000 or $700,000. I'm sorry, $700 million. It's crazy, not thousand. That'd be nothing. But $700 million. And has been a massive, massive box office success, including the one people don't like, Spider-Man 3. Very, very good news. Also coming our way is recent works that have been happening with the marketing campaign for Morbius. If you guys already saw my video on the Morbius trailer, you already know what's going on there. I've been crushing on Instagram, sharing posts and stories about what's going on with Venom 2. The marketing campaign there, as well as with Morbius, where Sony has been actively linking themselves back into the MCU, confirming that Spider-Man does in fact exist, that it's not just any Spider-Man, but it's Tom Holland's Spider-Man, because it was the one that Vulture worked with as well, or worked against, I should say. And they're aware of J. Jonah Jameson's campaign against Spider-Man. It's very, very much tied into the MCU, undeniably, because of the suit, the outfit that Keaton was wearing. Michael Keaton was wearing in the trailer for Morbius. Sorry, guys, I'm tripping over my words a little bit because I'm trying to remember specific names. I'll try to gather my thoughts a little bit better. It's very exciting to me to see that Sam Raimi, a very, very good and talented director, who has much love for not only Spider-Man, but also just Marvel in general, is in talks right now to direct Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, especially coming off of Sony recently announcing before the Spider-Man split that there was going to be a Madam Web film, which intrinsically is connected to Spider-Man's multiverse as well. And then you have Amy Pascal in the past saying that they were going to eventually build to a connection between the Sonyverse, which is Venom, Morbius, all of the Sony projects, and the MCU, which is the involvement that Tom Holland has had up till now, being in the continuity of the Avengers, etc. So Avengers, Endgame, Civil War, all of that is MCU continuity. And even though Sony made Homecoming and Far From Home, those are still MCU continuity made entirely by Sony. So Sony is just saying, you want Spider-Man back? These are our rules. We're going to be involved in the MCU whether you like it or not. And so now they've gone back, done some reshoots, add Spider-Man into the marketing campaigns for both Morbius and for Venom 2. Really, really exciting stuff. And now, even though Sam Raimi's not directly involved with Sony right now, his history's there. And we saw that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man was painted on the wall of the Morbius trailer when Morbius is in the jumpsuit, zipping up his jacket, walking past the brick wall with the graffiti that says murderer. All of that was there. You can look that up. I've got links to that in my previous Morbius video. For right now, you can just follow the breadcrumbs from here or Google it yourself. I'll leave it there because there's so much speculation from this, but it's very exciting as a Spider-Man fan and as a Sam Raimi Spider-Man fan to see that this could be the case. Do you guys want Sam Raimi to direct Doctor Strange 2? Do you think that Sam Raimi's involvement will have some sort of a cameo now that Sony and the MCU have confirmed mutual involvement? Or at least upstream involvement from the Sonyverse to the MCU. Do you think there'll be any kind of Easter egg or cameo from Sam Raimi back to his Spider-Man universe or to Tom Holland's Sonyverse into the MCU more directly that way? I would be interested to find out. I think it's going to weigh in heavily, but who knows? This is all fun to speculate. I'm getting giddy because it's so exciting for me to talk about this particular topic. I'll leave it there. No more. You guys have fun in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about all of this. All right, next up, we've got Aquaman is getting an animated series on HBO Max, animated series, made by James Wan, the director of the live-action Aquaman movie with Jason Momoa. Now, this leads me to believe that Aquaman, or rather Jason Momoa, will be involved in the animated series, being that it's James Wan. I would imagine, since, the photo that was used here does not in any way confirm or deny that Jason Momoa will be involved, but you can see in the background Willem Dafoe, who played Vulko in the live-action Aquaman, and you can also see Amber Heard as Mira, or it looks like Amber Heard as Mira, even though there's some controversy about Amber Heard recently. I'll talk about that a little bit as well after we get through this announcement, because I know you guys probably want to talk about Amber Heard, whether or not she'll continue on. We'll talk a little bit about that. I don't want to dig into that because that could go on 4 days. But we have, this is really interesting because we have the guy that did the live action film. He's a big Aquaman fan. He reinvented the Aquaman wheel by putting Jason Momoa in that seat and really bringing to life the world of Atlantis. I personally love Aquaman. I think it's a great film. It's almost like a more comedic version of kind of a fantasy epic. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very, very fantasy style epic that feels at times a little Lord of the Ringsy, and at other times it does have a little bit of a Marvel feel to it, but kind of more along the lines of, I don't know, maybe a James Gunn, not like James Gunn Guardians of the Galaxy meets kind of a Lord of the Ringsy feel. You know what I mean? It hits all the right beats of intense and fun and a little bit of, like, there's jokes, humor, but there's really, really powerful, intense moments that I really enjoyed. So I'm excited to see what James Wan can do with an animated series. Very interesting to me that he's going in this direction, but I'm excited. I want to see more of that. Now, what do you guys think about this? Would you be totally down to watch this Aquaman animated series? I think it opens the door for so many more opportunities for them to explore different characters. I love TV series mediums as well because there's so much more time on screen to get to know characters, learn about them, learn about their weaknesses, learn about the thing, just little things. You can get to know them more. You don't have 2, maybe 3 hours that you get only to learn everything you need to know about the person, the journey, the conclusion. You know what I mean? With a series, every episode can have that. Every episode can be person journey conclusion, or maybe even cliffhanger instead of conclusion. You know what I mean? So, like, it can keep going and keep building. I like that medium. So I'm excited for this. And I do hope that Jason Momoa comes back and voices. It would be really, really cool. Since they got the director doing it, I hope they can, convince these A-list actors to come back. That being said, what do you guys think about Amber Heard? I don't personally want to discuss it in this video. I've got more I need to talk about. I'll make a second video if you guys hit me in the comments and say, please discuss Amber Heard. Please tell us what's going on there, or weigh in, give your thoughts, because I'm more than happy to do so. I want to discuss that, but I'm going to save that for a different one. That's a big, long discussion. Chat it up, guys. Tell me what you want. All right, next up, we're going to talk about The Batman. All right, so this one is not as much an announcement as it is kind of a collective, like, here's what's going on. So let me just make sure that this is paused. I don't know if the audio is going to come through on your side. It shouldn't, but that's okay. So here's the full list. Now, this isn't really picture heavy, so it's not going to show you guys the actors or anything, but this is kind of the list of actors we have confirmed for Robert Pattinson's, or rather Matt Reeves's, The Batman with Robert Pattinson. So first up, let me read it for you. Robert Pattinson is confirmed from The Lighthouse, Tenet, and Good Time to play Batman Bruce Wayne. We have Zoe Kravitz from Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, and Mad Max Fury Road as Selena Kyle. Quick note before we continue. two things I had discussion with people online. There was a couple of people that were discussing this online. I saw in a comment section, and there was some people that were like, they had seen me say stuff about Ariel, for instance, from the Disney film, saying that like she should be a white redhead, not because I'm racist, duh, but because I'm an originalist. And people were suggesting to me presumptuously saying like, hey, like I bet you're upset about this, or like share your thoughts on this, you know, getting their popcorn ready or whatever. Like I was going to go on a rant, and I was like, actually this is really good. And they were like, oh, that's shocking. They thought I was going to be like, oh no, I don't want that. The reason why I actually do like Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman is because, not because she's black, not because she's white, she's actually played the role before. And they don't list it here, but she's actually played the role before in the Lego Batman movie. She played Catwoman, even though she had just a couple quick lines like meow 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 meow, like she was just making silly cat noises, and had a couple of short lines. But she has played the role before. She likes the role. She won't be the first black Catwoman. She won't be the second. She'll be the third. We're talking about Eartha Kitt in the 60s. I think it was in 68 she played Catwoman. She replaced the first two ladies. There was one for the 66 movie with Adam West, one for the 66 TV show with Adam West, and Eartha Kitt replaced the 66 TV show actress in the second season, if I'm not mistaken. And that was the first time that she had been depicted as an African American woman, but it worked. It worked really well. And I don't think there's anything intrinsically ethnically linking to her, and it does go back a ways. They've already done it a few times. It's kind of like Aquaman, you know, like at this point, like it's a character that was a B-list character, a ripoff of Namor. They came back and it wasn't doing so well in the public. It was more of a joke, a mockery. So they revamped it. They gave Jason Momoa a chance. That was Zack Snyder's version of Aquaman, was a more serious Polynesian style, beefy, mean looking, tatted up dude. Let's go with Jason Momoa and make this thing a little more serious, but also fun, you know, so that it could not be the butt of everybody's joke. Even though it is, you know, it's a meme all the time. People do that all the time, but they do that about everything too. So I actually do like this because it's not the first time she's played Catwoman, and the character is not intrinsically like a white, or like it's not like Ariel where the character is specifically a redhead, you know, like is a white redhead, where that's actually more of a minority than African Americans or in America. That's I think it's like 11% of America is African American, and then 1% is redhead. You know what I mean? It's like you're subbing a lesser minority for a greater minority at this point. So the minority is actually the redhead. If you're trying to go for representation, I think you're reaching the wrong one. Maybe you should swap out Sleeping Beauty, because there's already other blonde, you know, Disney princess. And that was kind of the discussion that people were like, oh, I think he's going to say this and that. So, you know, I think it all just kind of plays in. Do you like it? Do you not like it? I personally like it. I think Zoe Kravitz is going to be great. Sorry to go on a little rant there. It's not even a rant. It's just an explanation, really. So, yeah, we're good. Paul Dano. If you guys didn't know, Paul Dano from Love and Mercy and 12 Years a Slave is, they say Edward Nashton. I don't know if this is a typo, or if it's going to become Edward Nigma, or if Matt Reeves changed that on purpose to not be the Riddler. I think that's supposed to be the Riddler in disguise. So it's possible this isn't a typo. It's a disguise. Like they're really fooling anyone. All the audience is going to know Edward Nashton's Edward Nigma, or at least supposed to be. Anyway, Jeffrey Wright as GCPD's James Gordon. Great actor. I think he'll do really well. John Turturro from the Transformer films as Carmine Falcone. Peter Sarsgaard from the Magnificent Seven and Black Mass as Gotham DA Gil Coulson. Funny that there's another agent named Coulson. You know, the MCU has Agent Coulson. These guys have Coulson spelled a little differently. No U in that one. And then Jamie Lawson from Farewell Amor as mayoral candidate Bella Real. I don't know if that character is supposed to be anyone special in the Batman mythos. I haven't looked that up, but I'm gonna guess that that's probably original. Andy Serkis from Planet of the Apes as Alfred. He's also in Black Panther and Age of Ultron. And then Colin Farrell is playing Oswald Cobblepot, which I'm super excited to see that. I can't wait. I really, really like Andy Serkis. He's one of my favorite actors. I've followed him since he basically did Kong in King Kong with Peter Jackson and Lord of the Rings as well. Like when he did those, it got me so excited as a little guy, as a young film fan, to be like, oh my gosh, that's a person. They put computers or whatever on him, and like they made him like he got to play a monkey and Gollum and do the funny voices and do the like motion capture, and like it was so fun in my head to be like, I want to do that. And I never got a chance to do that, but I would love to see that someday. That'd be fun. And even do that. That'd be great. If I ever got the opportunity, I'd be like, heck yeah, give me that. I want to try that. Because it looks crazy. It looks intense, but it looks fun. And I'm really excited for this cast. Production for the Batman is now underway with a June 25 of 2021 theatrical release. So end of June next year, we're going to have this film out. I'm really excited. I think this cast is crazy good. And I really am excited to see the kind of Batman we have not yet seen. We've seen many different kinds of Batman. Adam West was Batman the good-hearted Batman. Val Kilmer was the ladies' man. We had Michael Keaton was he was kind of the he was like the tough, the rough and tough 80s style Batman. And then we also had, like, for instance, George Clooney was the mentor Batman. He was Batman the mentor. They focused on him guiding others, and that was kind of what he did that was different and special. You have Christian Bale, who was the moral, and his whole thing focused on this is the moral code. The difference between me and the bad guys is my morality, and I'm never going to break that code. And so he had to that was the whole difference between Christian Bale and everybody else. And then Ben Affleck's was the brutal Batman, and they showed Batman before he had his moral code. And then by the end of BVS, he establishes, you know what, Clark's way is the right way. And if I don't follow that, I'm no different than the bad guys, as he was for the entire first and second act of BVS. So his was the journey to get to the moral code that was Clark's, and then he becomes the person that puts together to the Justice League to honor the code that Superman gives him. So a little different, but similar to Bale's, but it's focusing on his brokenness and the darkness, the brutality of Batman. And then also now we have Pattinson is the detective, which we haven't seen. We've seen him do like some detective stuff, but it's not the kind of film that we're looking at here is going to be more or less, I think, a whodunit. Because now look at the cast. If we look at the cast, we have Catwoman from Here to Here. We have Paul Dano as Edward Nashton, which is supposed to be the Riddler. Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon, who's probably going to be helping figure it out. John Turturro as Carmine Falcone, the gangster. Peter Sarsgaard as Gotham DA Gil Coulson, the DA who's going to be involved. Also could be a suspect. Jamie Lawson, Farewell Amor, as the mayoral candidate. So the mayor, the one that's running for mayor, could also be a suspect. Andy Serkis as Alfred, not a suspect. And Colin Farrell as Oswald Cobblepot, again, a suspect. This is a detective crime, Sherlock Holmes style whodunit. And that's a Batman we have not yet seen. He's going to be investigating, and that's the whole point of the film. I'm excited for this version of Batman. Bring it on. And you know what? While we're on that topic, I want a martial arts style Batman because we have not yet seen Batman the fighter. We have not yet seen Batman the greatest fighter in the DC. Well, not the greatest, but one of the greatest fighters in the DC universe. Deathstroke obviously besting him. But as a master strategist and as a fighter, he's one of the most savage in the DC universe. And we've never seen anyone accurately represent that in a film. The closest we have is Ben Affleck's Batman. That's the closest we have. But I think we should get like a mid-low budget Batman TV show that does not focus on lines. It should be made by someone that does martial arts films, that makes a martial arts film director. Get them in there. Someone maybe like the guy that does Ip Man. Just get him in there. Get Scott Adkins in there. Don't worry about the lines too much. Just give us a martial arts Batman film where he's cleaning up the streets of Gotham. One-on-one fight style or 1-on-30 fight style. You know what I mean? Like, get us in there. Get the guys from John Wick down there to put together these fight scenes and have Scott Adkins, Ray Park, get a bunch of martial arts life dudes in there and just kill it. I would love to see that. Just HBO Max it, baby. So for those who are like, no, Scott Adkins sucks at acting, I don't care. I want a martial arts style Batman series. Low to mid budget is fine. You don't have to go crazy. Keep it cheap. Keep it. Don't even put a ton of budget on it. I want Pattinson's Batman over here. I want you to bring back Ben Affleck. I want you to make another Batman in the Arrowverse, and then also have Scott Adkins Batman all at the same time because Walter Hamada doesn't care, and we can get it done all at the same time. And it doesn't have to affect anybody. If you don't like this one, you can watch that one. If you don't like this one, you can watch the other two. You know what I mean? Just get it done. I want to see Batman the fighter because I don't expect a lot of fighting, really sick fighting to be happening from Pattinson because I want to see Batman the detective on this one. That's what Matt Reeves said he's going to give us. That's what I expect to see from this one. And that's all that I really want from this Batman. I don't need him to be the greatest fighter in the world. In fact, you could have one fight scene and it could be like 3 punches. And if the sleuthing is Sherlock Holmes level awesome, then this could still be my favorite Batman. You know what I mean? Like, it still has that possibility. But I still want that Scott Adkins Batman because that would be the Batman fighter that I would want. I would want the antagonist of that TV show to either be Deathstroke or Ra's al Ghul or like, I don't know, Victor Zsasz or like someone that's known to be mercilessly vicious at fighting, like really, really good. Get them in there and just have it be like building up to the ultimate showdown, and then have like Bane in there and a bunch of other people that are like crazy. Dave Bautista's Bane could go again. That would be so cool. Dave Bautista's Bane has actually already fought Scott Adkins. I can't remember which film that is, but Dave Bautista was a muscle-bound freak show that did Muay Thai, and he fought Scott Adkins in another movie. Just get a martial arts director in there to do that show. You know what I mean? Low budget. I don't need a whole lot. I don't want it to replace anybody. I don't want to replace Robert Pattinson or, like Christian Bale or any, like you can have all the ones we already have. Just give me more. You know what I mean? More is better than less when it comes to comic book stuff. A rated R Joker film, a PG-13 Joker film with Jared Leto. I want both. I don't want one or the other. I want both. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I feel about stuff. Anyway, yeah, so that's it. I rambled way too long on this topic. So let's go to the next one, guys. Let me know what you think about this topic, everything I just discussed about the cast for Matt Reeves' Batman with Robert Pattinson. What do you think about that? And then also, what do you guys think about a Scott Adkins Batman? Let me know what you think about that down below in the comments. All right, next up, Obi-Wan Kenobi series, unfortunately, was put on a brief hold. Now, there is good news to this, and there is bummer news to this. I'm not going to say bad because it doesn't mean anything negative per se for the project itself. because the hold actually could prove beneficial. But I'll let you guys be the judge of that in the comments, all right? Let me X out of this ad. There's all kinds of ads that pop up on these websites. All right, especially Collider. Collider's like ad addicted. Like they've got billions of ads every single second of the day. All right, so first let's read this. Exclusive. Obiwan Disney Plus series on hold as crew was sent home. Last week, troubling rumors began swirling about the upcoming Disney Plus series revolving around the character of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Ewan McGregor is poised to reprise his role from the Star Wars prequels in a story set 8 years after the events of Revenge of the Sith. Screenwriter Hossein Amini from Drive and the director Deborah Chow, The Mandalorian, were tapped to spearhead the series, and production was on pace to begin this year. These rumors hinted at potential trouble behind the scenes, and while we're hearing the show isn't canceled, we are hearing that it's been delayed. Two independent sources with knowledge of the situation tell Collider that the Obi-Wan series has been put on hold, as the crew that had assembled at Pinewood Studios in London was sent home. A time frame was not given, but the crew was told that the show would be down indefinitely. So let's talk for a second before we continue on to the part about Kathleen Kennedy. There has been a pattern of people hired on a project for Star Wars by Kathleen Kennedy to do this, to make the project go. And then deep into the project, it gets canceled, or there's issues where creative differences, or it's just not working out, or something, you know, like there's always something. Now, the only one that I can think of that didn't have this issue has been The Mandalorian. And that's because for the most part, Jon Favreau has had the entire thing under control. Kathleen Kennedy, of course, had to get him on that project, but then he was the one that got everybody else on board. Deborah Chow, Taika Waititi, Dave Filoni, you know, like Rick Fukuyama, if that's how you say his name. Everybody that is on the project was pretty much brought together by Jon Favreau. And so he kind of said, thank you. I'm going to make this happen for you. You don't have to worry about it. He took care of everything, and it's working out well. Now, with this project, with the Obi-Wan series, it is under the direct supervision of Kathleen Kennedy, like pretty much everything else, including Rogue One, which I freaking love, Solo, which nobody saw, but those who did were like, it wasn't that bad. You know, it wasn't bad. It just flopped because no one saw it, which could be the case for Birds of Prey. But I'll get to that in a minute. With this kind of repeat pattern. I mean, it happened for episode 7. It happened for not for Mando, but for Star Wars episode 7, The Force Awakens, for The Last Jedi, for The Rise of Skywalker, for Rogue One, for Solo, and now for this. I mean, everything had people come on board, and then they were like, oh, just kidding, that doesn't work out. We don't like this. After they'd already gotten started. So they get started, the producer's supposed to go, hey, are we on the same page? This is the plan. Do you like the plan? Yes or no? We want to know if we should hire someone else. They say, okay, great. We like the plan. This is working out. And then they hire them. But in this case with Star Wars, it looks like Kathleen Kennedy's not doing that very well. Or she's just saying, you're super talented. Join our project. Okay, they hire him. And then she's like, months in, she's like, this is the plan. This is what we have going on. Maybe she gave them a plan, and then she says, we're changing it. And they say, no, I don't like that. And then she's like, okay, bye. Like that could be the case. Hard to say since we are not in those closed door meetings. But the fact of the matter remains that every project except for Mando has had this exact same issue. And the buck stops at the top, guys. Kathleen Kennedy, I am a fan of because I like Star Wars Episode 7, even though it is totally a carbon copy of Episode 4. I did like Episode 7. So Episode 7, Force Awakens, was good. I hated The Last Jedi, and even though there was some good things in there, overall, as a Star Wars film, I cannot stand to watch that film anymore. And then Rise of Skywalker is enjoyable, entertaining. There is clear and obvious problems, but I feel like because of my deep-rooted frustrations with what The Last Jedi did, I'm more forgiving towards those things because it made me feel acknowledged. It made me my frustrations with The Last Jedi feel acknowledged, so I'm okay with it. For the most part, there's tons of issues, and I can joke with you guys about that in the comments or on Instagram all the time. I totally do. So I'm with you on that. I see the problems. I just don't care as much. 7, 8, and 9 to me are basically legends. They're not canon in my head. I know they are canon, but in my head, it's not really. You know what I mean? Like Mando is canon. Rogue One is canon. Solo is canon. I actually do like Solo a lot. And so anyway, let's continue reading. I don't want to keep trailing. I know guys, I ramble. I totally do. Let me know if you guys want me to keep that in a separate thing. Because if you do want that, just pop into the chat, okay? Just click on the live thing and just go, like, can you make a separate video for that? Or, just say like, hey man, you're rambling. Stay on point. That's a good one. So anyway, we've got this. We're hearing that Lucasfilm president and Obiwan producer Kathleen Kennedy was not happy with the scripts. Sources tell us that what will most likely happen next is the scripts will be reworked with the hopeful goal of reassembling this summer. But there's always the possibility that the time frame could shift. That's frustrating because it was at Star Wars, what was it? D23. At D23, months prior to this announcement, Kathleen Kennedy had announced that the scripts had been done months ago. So she said that the scripts were already done and finished and they were ready to get going. And that she had already looked over them. It was like, you don't say that they're done if you're not happy with them. You know what I mean? Unless she hadn't really read them. Unless she hadn't really taken a look at them. And then once they started going, she's like, let me read that. And then she doesn't like it. Oh my gosh, what are you doing? So in my head, this, again, only points to a failure for Kathleen Kennedy to get her team on the same page. I think she needs one of two things. First of all, if you're worried about the Obi-Wan series, I don't think you need to be, because the same kind of thing happened to Solo, and I think that movie turned out okay. Like, there was a few things that were, it's like, oh, okay, that's unnecessary. Like, the dice thing was a little on the nose. How he gets his name, like, you're alone? All right, then, Han Solo. That was, okay, that's not terrifically well written. I get it. It could have just been his name. You know what I mean? I've got some, and the L337 droid was annoying as heck, but they killed her off. So I was actually justified. I felt like, oh my gosh, can you please get rid of this droid? And then she dies. So I was like, oh, that's great. And then now I watch that movie, and whenever I see her, I'm like, she's going to die. So that's great. And I take comfort in that. And I actually do really enjoy the movie now. In this case, it's just, with Obi-Wan, you don't have to worry yet, because if they're in the middle of the production now, the smart thing to do, if they see a problem, is to give the project more time. With Solo, they did not give it more time, and they ate through their entire marketing budget with by having to reshoot basically everything. They waited too long with Solo, so 80% of the film was already shot, and then no one would touch the project except Ron Howard, and he came in and said, "Listen, I want to do this." But you have to let me reshoot the entire thing. And they were like, well, crap, there goes our entire budget. But okay, fine. And they had no more room to market. No one knew the movie was coming out. And the only people that did were people like me who hated The Last Jedi. So people were frustrated and they were like, I'm not going to see a Disney Star Wars film. And they did not go see Solo for one of three reasons. They didn't know about it. They hated The Last Jedi and they were boycotting, or they didn't want to see a Solo film without Harrison Ford. Those were the three reasons why people didn't go see Solo. And that's why it financially failed. And that's why we're probably, unfortunately, not going to see Solo 2. I hope we do, though, because I really do want to see where they go with Crimson Dawn. Ray Park and Sam Witwer cooperatively playing Darth Maul. I cannot wait to see that saga if they ever choose to do that. I think they should do that on Disney Plus in a series format. That'd be great. But nevertheless, back to the subject matter at hand. Basically, they say pretty much everything that I just said. Many people have been talking about this. I'm not the only one that sees this. It's the resounding gong that's been going off about people that don't like Kathleen Kennedy. I do actually think Kathleen Kennedy is a good producer. She should not have any control over the creative aspect of Star Wars, though. You should give that to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni because they know Star Wars more than anyone. Clearly, the people that did 7, 8, and 9 had no idea what they were talking about, no idea what they're doing. It was not great. 7 was not bad. 7 was good. I think 7 was actually okay, but it was too repetitive of episode 4. They literally just took episode 4, said copy, paste, scale, and they just made it bigger. Everything was bigger. Shinier, bigger, newer, new names. And yeah, so it was the same stormtroopers. They just took Emperor Palpatine, made him bigger, literally bigger, with Snoke bigger. The Death Star was now the Starkiller base. Everything was bigger. It was the same thing but bigger, which is frustrating, including the cantina, which I thought was hilarious. They literally took the cantina from Tatooine and put it in a foresty planet with Maz Kanata and made it a palace instead of a thing, but it's still a bar. You know what I mean? It makes for a good map on Battlefront, though. That's nice. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say, really. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Are you worried about Obi-Wan? I personally am not, because yes, there was an issue with the script they're not happy with, but they basically said, if it needs more work, we will give it more work and more time to get it done the right way. So even though there's an issue, I think they're handling it well. So I'm excited. Plus, it's going on to Disney Plus. They won't have to put a terrible amount of money into marketing, although they will, but they don't have to. So I'm glad that they caught this. Even though it wasn't early on, it was still before they got through most of their shooting. So that's great. Anyways, let me know what you guys have to say about it in your opinion down below, because I love having those conversations with you guys. Agree or disagree, that's not the point. My point is to have the conversation at all. So let's go on to the next thing. And the next topic is Disney Plus. I'm sorry. The MCU might be getting a film they didn't create. So this is an interesting one. Disney's D23 website says the New Mutants is part of the MCU. Now, this particular article by Jeremy Conrad has been updated. So, fair warning, we do not need to speculate a lot about this being true, because the whole premise was whether or not this was a typo. And since this article came out, the New Mutants section of the D23 website has been completely removed. And so, yes, it was a typo. So it says this: before presenting this, be aware that this is likely a typo on the part of the D23 website, which might be fixed in the future if it is. This story will be updated to reflect that. Now, today is the official... Now, this is not today, but when he wrote the article. So he says in the article, today is the official Disney fan club D23 updated their website with a story about the new trailers, and under the New Mutants trailer, it says it's a new addition to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, that verbiage is very specific. Now, since then, he says that they have taken down the article. This could be for secrecy, which it probably is not, or it could be because it was, in fact, an assumption or a typo by someone that was not in the loop. So, I think it's much more fair to say, given that it's been updated, that it is the latter. It is a typo. But Marvel has posted things in the past that have turned out to be the case. They took it down for secrecy and then brought it back. Casting on IMDb, that sort of thing. So, the new trailer, by the way, is awesome. And I do think that this film will be really good. or at least it'll be enjoyable if you're into borderline horrors or full-on horrors. It's aiming for a full-on horror, but I'm really excited. I actually do love the New Mutants. I love their comics. I loved what they did with them in a few of the episodes of X-Men Evolution, an older TV show, animated X-Men TV series. Many of you probably have seen that. Oh man, I love Sam Guthrie, Cannonball, one of my favorites. Wolfsbane is great too. And Danielle Moonstar is really cool too. I really like hers. And I think the whole movie is about her anyway. And the Demon Bear. So that'll be a fun one. But interesting that the verbiage on the Disney website was addition to the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And it's funny that Marvel has, after they bought Fox, and Fox basically gave up on the project and said, you know what, we're not going to do anything to put this out. The actors had come out and said, like, what's going on? You know, we made this movie, but it's not coming out. Like, that was like years of our lives. Now Disney's going out of their way to put it out, get the project finished, get it a release date, that kind of thing. And they even revamped the trailer, made it updated and fresh, new. They shot some new scenes, I believe. And yeah, so like it's actually coming out probably still under the Fox. It might still be under the Fox banner, but this could be a hint that it might actually fall under the MCU banner, because with Eternals coming up, and like with movies like Age of Ultron, Infinity War paving the way for mutants to be in the MCU, the end credit trailer, the end credit scene of Captain America: The Winter Soldier, setting up mutants into the MCU before the Fox deal was done and they legally had the right to say mutants. They still set everything up. Now it's free reign. They have the rights back, so they can actually say mutant. They can introduce Wolverine, Cyclops, everybody they like from the mutants world. They absolutely have the right to do so. So they could just bam, let's get these guys in there. Likable characters, talented actors. We could kickstart the X-Men with this, Eternals, WandaVision. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is going to rip open the possibilities for all of this stuff. House of M, if they wanted, they could just go nuts. So I'm excited. This is, again, probably a rumor, probably just a typo, but it does open the door for speculation, and that's what I love. I love to speculate. So let me know what your speculations are about this. Which projects in the MCU that already exist do you think are going to help build a case for mutants in the MCU? Let me know. I love having that conversation. And we will go to the next major topic, which, if you guys do not already know, will be Harley Quinn. So let me go ahead and move my screen over here. So you guys are now seeing Birds of Prey. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this conversation with this. I have not seen Birds of Prey. I have not watched it. No spoilers from me. And if you would be so kind, please, no spoilers from you in the comments if you have not seen Birds of Prey. I have not seen it, so you don't have to worry about me ruining the story, because I don't know. But what I want to look at is data. I want to look at numbers, okay? And I want to look at facts about the surrounding the film, not details pertaining to the story of the movie, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at this. People have been talking online about Birds of Prey flopping. Birds of Prey is a disaster. Birds of Prey is not making money. And I think that is exaggerated. I think that is people expecting a lot where there really shouldn't be a lot of expectation. People are saying, well, people love Harley Quinn. They do in certain contexts. And I'll get to a couple of the reasons why I think that Birds of Prey is on track for what it probably should be expecting. And it should not be expecting a lot. The budget for this film was $84 million. Now, that, I believe, does not account for marketing, which usually you would take the number that the budget is for the film and you double it. So 8 and 8 is 16. You could say $160 million is probably where they need to go to break even. Maybe more than that. Like, they might have put more money than their budget on for marketing. It could have been somewhere in the ballpark of $200 million for total costs. So even though this number here for budget says 84.5, that's for production, not for marketing. And so the opening here was $33 million over 4,236 theaters, which is not super amazing. But I want to give you guys a couple of, and the worldwide so far is 79 million. So they're getting really, really close to their 84 desired number, not including marketing. And I do think that it'll certainly beat its budget. Whether or not it's going to actually get close to its marketing increased number, I'm not certain. But I do think that they kind of pin themselves into a corner. There's a lot of things about Birds of Prey that I think is not good for itself. And it's probably not the things you're thinking of. I know a lot of people are gonna go towards, like, people who have seen the film might be making arguments like it was very, like, social, political. It was SJW. It's just for girls. That's an argument for another time, because I haven't seen the film. I can't say any of that because I don't know. But what I do know is that the movie is the marketing for the film has been so ambiguous that you ask any of your normie friends, not people like me who constantly follow this stuff, but normal casual viewers who might have seen a trailer. Those people, you ask them what they think the movie's about, and they go, Harley Quinn. And, like, they might be like, oh, those Marvel movies, like, not knowing it's a DC film or the difference. But then they might not even know that the movie's rated R, or if they do know it's rated R, they're more likely to not go see it. A lot of people are less likely to go see it if it's rated R. I know a lot of DC fans are going to be like, no, they should all be rated R. Like, Deadpool fans are going to be like, no, make everything rated R. That's fine if you're into that. But the second you made Harley Quinn's movie rated R, families are not going to see this film. And that's a big part of the actual movie-going crowd. A lot of rated R fans don't go to the theater. A lot of rated R fans actually watch at home, or they stream it. There's a very small amount of people that are like big rated R, viewers that go out to the theater to see that. They'd rather, like, watch it at home. Or if they have a family like I do, they'll screen the movie first before taking their family to go see it. You know what I mean? And obviously rated R is not for kids. And you're like, oh, well, it's not made for kids. It's not supposed to be. Yes. So you can't expect family going numbers to actually make the cut. If this movie was PG-13, the opening weekend box office would have been at least double what it was right now. And I guarantee you, if the movie actually, the trailers showed that Jared Leto was even shown in the film, if they showed Jared Leto in the trailers even once, I would be willing to bet you'd see at least another 50% increase in the box office from the opening weekend. At least. Because a lot of the people that I know, that I personally know, and this is anecdotal, have told me that they didn't go see Birds of Prey because they're not into, and I'm going to quote you guys, I'm going to take you on a little rabbit trail. I had a conversation today, yesterday, this week, about this exact thing. Oh, hey, did you see Birds of Prey? And they said either no, I'm not into those films. These are casual fans, right? Not like people that know all the stuff like you and I do. They say those movies, and I ask them, oh, well, what do you mean those movies? Superhero films? And they go, no, just those films. And I had to narrow it down again. Well, what do you mean, like DC films, or do you mean like Suicide Squad? And they go, yeah, the Suicide one. And I'm like, why not? And they're like, oh, I don't know, it just didn't look good. And I'm like, okay. and one of my friends I had a conversation with today told me the same thing, but said, I don't like those films because they're kind of dark and they're just, I don't know. I don't like that. So out of the gate, right now, Birds of Prey kind of appeals to pop culture, superhero style, action, adventure type of things. But you narrow it the second that you say, first, it's all girl. The truth of the matter is that there are a lot of people that don't want to see anything that is all either girl or all boy. Like they want to see like a normal film or just a fun film. They don't want to see like, oh, it's, you know, all the heroes are girls and all the villains are boys. This movie clearly had that vibe. So you can say there's a number of people that'll go for that. I haven't seen the film, so I can't I can't give you details. But based on the trailers, that's what people are seeing, and that's what people are telling me. Another filter you can sort by people that are going to go see it. So we've already kicked to the curb people that are not into girl only, boy only type of stuff. There's also a wide variety of people that don't care for villain type of movies or movies that are like morally gray or you know, that kind of thing. A lot of people don't like that. There's a lot of superhero fans do enjoy that. I personally do enjoy these types of films, but there's a lot of people that didn't go see The Dark Knight because it was dark and it was morally gray. People didn't see Batman Begins because it was too dark. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people that feel that way. The movie would have made a lot more if the marketing didn't show that it was so dark. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that went because it was dark. So there's different categories of people. But if you stack filters, you get narrower audiences. And this movie's marketing stacked a lot of different filters on who will go see this film. So it looks to be a movie that's designed and made for all girls. All the heroes are girls. All the villains are boys. At least from the trailers. They cut out Jared Leto. Jared Leto has nothing to do with this film. So any fans of Suicide Squad that loved the Jared Leto Harley Quinn dynamic to that film are automatically hurt by the fact that Jared Leto's getting screwed again. And so Jared Leto's not there. That's a big loss. That was one of the reasons why I was like, I'm not super interested. I love Jared Leto. I wanted to see Jared Leto. Where's Jared? So that was a big thing for me. That was a big thing for a lot of my friends online, a lot of friends I know personally. But even if that's not you, don't worry. There's more filters. Then you get to people that like dark movies, but don't care for like I guess romantic drama. You know what I mean? And so like you get kind of this like psycho chicks on The Bachelor vibe. You know what I mean? From the story in the trailers of Harley. Then that's also something that's like, I don't need to see that relationship drama personally. I'm not interested. I don't personally, and a lot of dudes aren't interested in that. I know a lot of dudes watch The Bachelor. I'm not saying you're not a dude if you don't watch The Bachelor. But what I'm saying is that there are plenty of dudes that don't care for that kind of story. We want to see Batman kick some butt. We want to see, if it was Harley just kicking tons of butt, but it was like less of the like chick drama type of element to it, it probably would have appealed more. Which is why the original Charlie's Angels appealed to dudes and the new one does not. That's one of the reasons. But the biggest thing I think that hurt this box office was probably also going from PG-13 to rated R. I've said this already, but there's a lot of people that would have been there that will now no longer go. And people have been making this debate about Deadpool as well. Oh no, Deadpool's foul and he's vulgar and he's like sexual and he needs to have all of these elements. You can't do a PG-13 Deadpool. You absolutely can. Like for kicks and giggles, Kevin Feige made the team from Deadpool remake Deadpool 2 for Christmas in a PG-13 fashion, and it's freaking gold. It is hilarious. It may not be as in-your-face funny as the Deadpool 2 was, or in comparison, Deadpool 2 to Deadpool 2 Christmas version, because they obviously took out like the gore, they took out the blood, Uh, they left the violence, they left the action, they left a lot of the crude humor, but they limited the F-bombs and S words, and they limited it so that it could fit a PG-13 setting by literally having Deadpool bleep the words himself. And it was hilarious. It was still incredibly funny, and it still worked. So if Birds of Prey was made in a way that it could have toned back to a PG-13, a very edgy PG-13, many, many, many more people would have seen it. For sure. 100%. Now, it's probably still not going to make anywhere close to, like, Avengers numbers. Like, it's certain we don't have to have everything cross the $1 billion mark, but this movie could have made $300 million in its opening weekend. It could have done something really crazy like that and been like, opening weekend, we already slammed our budget, pure profit from here on out. You know what I mean? And that would have been super cool. They could have made $200,000 their first opening weekend and been like, wow, we've already done most of our, or maybe more than their actual budget plus their marketing budget. We're good to go. Nothing but profit from here. You know what I mean? Right now they're approaching their budget. They still have to make back the marketing, but it could still do really well. It could have legs and just keep going, because I haven't seen it. Most of the people I know haven't seen it. There's a lot of people that are yet to see it, but there are people that are telling me, hey, it was really good. You got to go see it. And I'm like, okay, great. That sounds cool. I hesitate because it's rated R. I don't watch a lot of rated R stuff. I didn't watch Deadpool, and I didn't watch Deadpool 2. I watched the Deadpool PG-13 Christmas re-release, and it was freaking hilarious. And so to me, it doesn't fit my filter. Everyone has a filter of what they like and what they don't like. A lot of people that go for like rated R, like Joker and Birds of Prey probably don't enjoy some of the Marvel content because it's so lighthearted. Sometimes, the comic relief might get annoying for you if that's not what you're into. But there's different filters for different film fans. It's not wrong. It just is what it is. People have different filters, but more people fit the range of PG-13 than they do for rated R. So I think this film put too many filters on itself as far as viewership goes and audience taste. Now, there is more to this film than just that. So if you guys will indulge me, the name sucks. And I don't mean the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn. That part is actually really good. I actually do think that works really well. The problem is that you're not actually showing the Birds of Prey fans Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey does not involve Harley Quinn. There are comics called Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. And this movie is kind of playing off of that. They're going Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn. But it's, from what I'm hearing, from some of the reviews I've read that aren't extremely spoilery, it isn't really about Birds of Prey until like the last bit of it. It kind of builds some of those characters up a little bit, but the problem is it builds the wrong characters. So like the original, let me show you guys this. The original Birds of Prey. Let me see if I can show you from left to right. It shows Huntress, Hawk and Dove, Lady Blackhawk, Black Canary, and Oracle. The only, they have Huntress and Black Canary from the Birds of Prey. That's good. That's true. But some of the main people from the Birds of Prey include like Batgirl, Oracle, Barbara Gordon, who is clearly not in this film. As far as what I've heard some reviews, some semi-spoilery reviews, but no like details. But basically that this character doesn't seem to appear. We look at the Birds of Prey art, it's like Katana. There is like another thing that I thought was weird was they decided to race bend a notoriously blonde white character, Black Canary, who is quite popular, very popular character. They decided to, for the first time ever, race bend this character, which again is another filter. You're putting another filter on your viewership. So it's not wrong to want race bending. And it's not wrong to not want race bending, but you have two groups. You have groups that like it and groups that don't. And the second that you do it, there is a group of people that would have gone to see your film that probably won't see that film because they're annoyed by not only that you got the roster of characters wrong, there are plenty of Birds of Prey characters that people love that are not a part of it, that got like excluded from the film. But now it's, it feels misrepresented, and it feels like the movie's not in your taste, in your interest. So again, another filter on who is going to see this film. So it's not about whether or not, it was right or wrong. I think I haven't seen the film, so I don't even know if it was any good. I don't know if it was terrific. It could have been the best film to come out this year. It supposedly has really good Rotten Tomatoes score right now, which is great. I want this film to succeed. I really do like Margot Robbie. I think she's great. She's a great actress, and she's incredibly good as Harley Quinn from what we saw in Suicide Squad. I really like her, and I want more of her and Jared Leto. I loved them together. I think Jared Leto is great as Joker. I love his take. It's original. It's very, very different. Yes, it is weird. It is twisted. It is perverse, but it is enjoyable. And I think that him and Margot Robbie are great together. So I would like to see more of them together, possibly in their own movie, like They Get Back Together type of thing or whatever. But let me show you guys what I think is more accurate would have been to call it Gotham City Sirens, because Harley Quinn is a part of that team. Now, granted, again, you'd have the misnomer of the Gotham City Sirens typically includes Catwoman and Poison Ivy, whereas this film apparently does not have them, and it does have the other two members of the Birds of Prey, which is Huntress and Black Canary. But again, it's like you're taking part of this team and part of this team and calling it the other team, even though the main character is the one from the other team. So it's like, it's confusing. You're trying to draw in the fans from the Birds of Prey, yet really you should be calling it Gotham City Sirens. It's almost closer to that than it would be the other way around, because your main character is what it should be about. I don't know. It's odd. It wasn't a good name. It should have been, maybe just call it Harley Quinn Broken Heart. Harley Quinn, like whatever, status single, or, like you could have done something fun or silly or whatever with the title, like they did for Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, which was clever. I do think that's fun. It is a mouthful and annoying to say, but clever and in the spirit of Harley Quinn. But it should have been called Harley Quinn. Now, let me point something out to you guys. Back when they announced, I think it was in 2018, when they announced they were going to do a movie, a female DC movie, they did not call it Birds of Prey. Let me show you guys this really quick. It was called, look at this. The IMDb page is still up. It's called Gotham City Sirens. And it was announced as a Gotham City Sirens film originally. And it was said at the time, writer was Paul Dini. That was for, yeah. So it was going to star Margot Robbie. Writer was Paul Dini. And this, one thing about IMDb to note before I go on too far about this is that IMDb can be updated by pretty much anyone with a login, including myself. I could go in there right now and change and update things. So it's never like 100%, but it's, oftentimes it's pretty accurate. So I would say most of the time you can trust. But this also does go to show that when this was announced, someone made the IMDb page, whether it was actually Warner Bros, but it's still up. So like, even though Birds of Prey does actually have, watch this, Birds of Prey movie IMDb. This is the actual one, Birds of Prey 2020, 6.7 out of 10. It shows the entire cast. Mary Elizabeth Winstead. This is obviously the updated one. It shows everybody on here. This is the real IMDb for it. But this is the one, let me show you down here, that was created back when the announcement was made. It's funny to me because back then they had the right idea, I think. Call it Gotham City Sirens if your main character is a classical member of Gotham City Sirens. Harley Quinn's not a member of the Birds of Prey. I mean, she's joined the Birds of Prey a couple of times in the series run, Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. But the Birds of Prey does not involve Harley Quinn on its own. Gotham City Sirens does. And that was what they were going to call it. Until they decided to change it. And I don't get it. I think it's because they decided they wanted Huntress in there and they wanted to try to pander to two groups at the same time. Technically three, because they're also playing off the Suicide Squad crowd. But it doesn't work if you confuse your audience. You know what I mean? The old Warner Bros. Always used to make this mistake. They said, we want to do what Marvel's doing. Let's do what Marvel's doing. The audience says, we don't like it. They go, oh no, we need to change right away. And they would change even though a project was in the middle of its thing. Like Zack Snyder's Man of Steel trilogy ended up becoming something far more than a Man of Steel trilogy. It went from Man of Steel to Warner Bros. Saying the second one needs to be like, the Avengers. So then he said, okay, if I have to include someone, I'm going to do Batman. I'm going to make it about Batman and Superman. We'll make a relationship there. I can work with that. Let's just do that. And then after that, people didn't understand it. And they said, you know what? We need an Avengers film. Make it happen now. So, okay, we're going to do Justice League for the third one instead of Man of Steel 2. And now they don't have anyone with the guts or the balls to come in and do Man of Steel 2 because they don't want to get involved with the studio that is so finicky, so fickle about public opinion. You know what I mean? It's like, just make the story you're trying to make. Let people enjoy that story and get on board instead of try to force the changes like Star Wars Episodes 7, 8, and 9. You change that story every 12 seconds and you come out with something so inconsistent, so uncoherent that, it just falls apart. It doesn't work even among itself. And so, yeah, that's kind of where they're at. I hope that Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn does really well. I hope it does well. I want to read more reviews on it before I decide whether or not I am going to see it. Because I don't know if I will see it, guys. I don't typically watch rated R stuff. I made an exception for Joker because there wasn't, if I'm not mistaken, there wasn't a lot of nudity. There was like a couple glimpses of like a billboard where there was a really risque image or something. But I'm avoiding the nudity. That's why I don't watch Game of Thrones. I'm not trying to watch the nudity. And so that kind of like sexual content I'm staying off of. So for me, it's a no. It's not a thing I'm trying to do. If this film is clean enough there, I don't mind the cursing as much. For me, that's not an issue. And the violence certainly is, and I love that stuff. But yeah, I'm just gonna wait. Tell me in the comments. Did you see the film? Did you like the film? Do you think this film will make upward of $300 million? Or do you think it will make under $300 million by the end of its theatrical run? I would like to hear from you guys. I don't think this is a flop. I don't think we have the grounds to say that yet. I think it'll make back its production budget, and the fight will be to see if it beats its marketing budget. It would be unfortunate if it didn't make that, but I think that's what you get for taking a PG-13 franchise. Fans of Suicide Squad went to see a PG-13 Suicide Squad, and then now this supposed sequel is rated R. You've just changed your demographic entirely. So, yeah, I think they did it to themselves, unfortunately, which is sad, but that's what it is. That's pretty much all I wanted to say, guys. I mean, do you think that getting the source material confused, Birds of Prey and Gotham City Sirens, and then, having it listed as a Gotham City Sirens and then changing it to Birds of Prey and, Harley Quinn, rating it rated R instead of PG-13, making the film to go for R, that kind of thing. Was that a mistake? Did you appreciate it? I want to hear from you because I haven't seen the film and I'm debating whether or not I should even see it. This is certainly not a review of the film, so please don't think I'm hating on the film. I'm not. I'm not giving any review of the film because I have not seen it. So let me know what you think. Tell me what you have to say about the film because I value your opinions and your conversations. So that's all I have to say. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. There are apparently no comments here, so I will let it go. Let it go, let it go. Can't hold it back anymore. And I will not hold you back anymore from leaving this video. So thank you guys so much. If you guys don't mind, just give me 1 second so I can talk to you guys about something that is important to me. Do you guys see this t-shirt here? I want to see if my camera will focus up. There we go. The t-shirt I have on is the Fan of Much Fiction t-shirt. If you guys go to the description of this video, you scroll down below all of the links to all the stuff we talked about, the topic links. Below that, there is my TeePublic link, and that will take you to my TeePublic where you can get all kinds of merch. And I'm really excited because that helps me get new equipment, gear, and pay for the different things that I pay for to make this channel happen. My Adobe suite, you know, my Google, I pay to have Google Space online so that I can do the fan casting summits. It takes up a lot of memory, a lot of data online. And so then I've had to go over 15 gigs of data on there. So now I'm paying for that subscription. Lots of things that go into this behind the scenes that end up costing me money. And if this is going to cost me money, I got kids to feed, you know what I mean? So I might as well just put my energy into things that are going to do that. But if you want to support this channel, you like the content I'm making, keeping you guys updated on the news, doing fan castings. I'm working on the next summit right now for the Green Lantern Corps. Part 2, because we've already done the first one, and the show is coming out on HBO soon. Also, I'll make a video soon about Arrow. There was a big Green Lantern thing, not just in the Christ on Infinite Earths, but on Arrow in the season finale. So I'm not going to spoil anything beyond that, but there is something to talk about. Look for that in an upcoming video. You guys rock. Please click the link in the description below, teepublic.com/user/the-stuff-legend-show. Get your sick merch. You can get a t-shirt like this for like 20 bucks. Sometimes it is on sale. I do not control the sales, but TeePublic does from time to time, periodically, do a sale. You can get the t-shirt for 14 bucks there. Lots of cool things that you can get. Mugs, you can get sweaters, hoodies, pillows, tote bags to carry your books and your comics and all that stuff. Wall art. And I've got tons of designs in the bottom corner. Where is it? That way. It's all mirrored right now, so it's that in that bottom right corner of your screen, you can see those t-shirts down there. Power Rangers, Batman, Superman, Joker, all kinds of designs I have done myself. Please go check those out. You can get merch and help support my channel. Appreciate it. You guys are the best. Like, share, comment, subscribe is the way to support my channel for free, or you can buy yourself some merch. Either way. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys like it, please make sure to click the like button, which is a thumbs up button there. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm trying to get to 500 subscriptions by summer. That would be great if I could do that. I believe I'm halfway, you know, like from 400, I'm at 440, blah, 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 something as of the making of this video. Please help me get there if you haven't already subscribed. I appreciate it. I need to get to 1,000 so I can start making money on AdSense. That'd be delightful. Anyway, you guys rock. Please tell me what you want to see in the comments below. You're the best, and I'll talk to you guys on Instagram, in the comments, on Facebook, wherever you're at. I tweet all the time. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hey guys, D-Lo here. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And remember to share this video with all of your nerd friends. I know you got them, and you know who they are. Leave a comment below and let me know what you thought about this discussion. Let me know what you would like to see me do a video on next. Subscribe to the channel because you're a legend, and we have that in common. Also be sure to turn on notifications to be notified right away when I upload my next video, or so that you can be alerted when I go live next time. That way you'll never miss a thing. Check out the other videos on the channel so that we can have a discussion on all your favorite movies and TV topics. Thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for more right here on The Stuff of Legend.